Abusiafo yemamu nyina adwo esan mamakwa ababiem eba UTV so mraso say ye de enwumere no ndu kase ebo no eba makwa mu kase ebo yi enkomotwetwe eka ho ye de Friendship House ebo Abeka Junction enkran na ene enwumere yensem a ye de eba no de edimu akotene bi ene say Yama Penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ede atodwa se eba no oman Ghana fuma gudie to a ewo say ye de local communities ni nyina ka ho mo de omo ho eje
Sanso na mampani ede ato na so afo anim se adwuma opa so mo mabeye no enye so babetena se aka wonsa de aso de mfane mum ye adwuma na so mramfa so ema omama no
na otemuofo panyi asese ye mampanyi atwena sensen no otafo mrashe bidwani onumunyafo Vincent Ekow asefua ede asem no akwakodan Supreme Court se omunye bibi emfa
Sanso na mampani betena benwa so na so bedi mampani ma oman Ghana ode chiapa se maiwa ekosku se bi so mbu omonsa so nya eye ade de kwakra omone no eno apa hontuma se ensha se sanitary pad no yenche emfama school maya
we any nsem bi eka ho na anwumre ye de ba besomu ewo nondu bremu kasebo ene ye betwetwe nkomo afa eye otemuafo panyi a yeyi no ne ho nsensem a ama ne homene so yatwena sensan mum ne ho nsensem a ama ne homene so abofo bi adaroma ene anwumre omaso yasene ama ye de kasebo no eba this way chocolate drink yesi de wuhia ne so share your special eyes the mineral water and the drinks are sort to nina best point savings and loans best assurance you to nchine need fufunita benkwai o madaroma and then you maso yimwa ye do ama ye de kase bono e ba kenkan for eyeme abena beyi nyano mene
enim ado ye ran senumana ye ko mampani John Dramani Mahama His Excellency Ghana mampani oni na so afo ehia onkramantemu ada ni nyina ne se omo ekwa kusoso adwene ahwe amemu a ekoso enipa ebetumi aboa na bibia etumi akoye no mampani ekasa enochese na ode na so afo anim se opa omo so womra emebo no munye adwuma no man ma no enyom so mfaso no wankase omomra emetra se form science show ndem film to kind of credit atrom se wa wadwuma answer no yade o se ugina nche no bifoforo by sense oman ma no ehia impuntu.
We're not here simply to orient ministers. We're here to shape a collective mindset, a shared vision for leadership that is people-centered, that is innovative, transparent, and that is transformational. Ghana needs more than just competent administrators. We need bold reformers, ministers who will lead with courage, who will say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and who will stand by the truth even when it is inconvenient to say so. And that is what leadership demands at this moment. My brothers and sisters, the problems we face are real, but so are the solutions. We can rebuild our economy, we can create jobs, we can restore faith in governance, but we must commit to the hard work of change. You were not appointed to occupy space. You were appointed to solve problems. Let me remind you of the social contract we have entered into. The Ghanaian people expect us to deliver, and we must not with excuses, but with results. I've said before and I repeat now, this is the legacy term of my presidency. I intend to make it count. I intend for it to matter, and I expect that every member of this administration will do the same. We must work with a sense of urgency. Our young people are tired of waiting interminably. Our farmers, our workers, our entrepreneurs, especially our women and youth, want to see policies that work for them. They want fairness, they want opportunity, they want to live in dignity and prosperity. Indeed, they are not asking for handouts. They're asking to be given a fair shot. And let's give them just that. The task before us requires leadership that is empathetic, that is disciplined and accountable, leadership that is not defined by titles, but by service.
Yama Penny His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so signed the atuja say eba no oman Ghana ye fema gudi a yetu na obesre say yemfanko form say the beya yankasa local communities no ombet medium ho agim enyemu faso na aboa mo so etumpo.
I think that in Africa we've developed a core of human resource that is capable of also taking advantage of some of these resources. We've developed the technology, we have the technology to be able to do whatever any of these big conglomerates are doing. And the capital is available in the world to mobilize, to be able to do the same things. And that is why recently we had a little issue which we have resolved with one of our mining companies whose lease had expired after 30 years. And it was our desire to take it over and use Ghanaian expertise to be able to also exploit that resource and let the benefits remain in our country. Happily, we reached an amicable resolution to work together to transition that mine into Ghanaian ownership. But it leads me to what my thoughts are, that we must have an indigenization program for taking control of some of our natural resources. In the next few months, we'll develop a policy on indigenous participation in our natural resource exploitation. And anytime, we're not going to expropriate anybody's concession or anything, but anytime a lease comes up for renewal, we would want to negotiate to see that there's more Ghanaian participation, indigenous Ghanaian participation in these things, so that we can also raise the resources to bring prosperity to our people. You go to the mining areas and look at the communities around the mining centers, still steeped in poverty. Government has to replace schools and the trees, even at this time, build CHIPS compounds, repair the roads and all that. And we can only do that if we can get the resources from the natural resource endowment that God has given us. And so, yes, we would codify it. And as and when, the opportunity comes, we'll renegotiate some of these things so that Ghanaians can also participate in the blessing that God gave us.
Abaya tisi nhyehyɛ sɛ de bɛyɛ amaye bo mu nsa honidie ne ade ɛbɛka wonti no aso ehwɛ nwumasua so nhyehyɛ sɛ maya ebo mu nsa maya no opim mienu omo ɛbɛbo omo no manya de omo bɛkɔkra omo kyerɛ sanitary pad no ombɛbo abo omo no ɛna mampani apa hontoma kyɛ sɛ ɛbraso sɛ sa nhyehyɛ ɛne nsa omo de ɛbaa no mudi so na maya wo school ahyase no omo tumi enya ne boa.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we take a bold step forward, not just in education policy or healthcare, but in hope for the girl child. Today is a message to every girl in Ghana that you matter, that your dreams matter, and your future is worth every investment that we can make in it. I stand before you to officially launch the National Sanitary Pad Distribution Program, a promise we made and are proud to have fulfilled. This initiative is more than just the distribution of sanitary pads. It is a clear declaration that no girl in Ghana should miss school because of her menstrual period. Far too many of our daughters, our nieces and sisters have missed out on education, not because they lack the academic intelligence and the flair or the will or the ambition, but simply because they lack access to proper sanitary products. Research has shown that girls can miss up to 5 school days each month, amounting to nearly 40 days of schooling a year. This is not just a statistic, it represents a young girl falling behind in class, losing her confidence, and struggling to catch up because of what is a natural biological process. This reality is unacceptable. In Ghana, where we aim for progress, equity, and justice, this must not continue. Menstruation should never be a reason for exclusion or shame. It should not be a barrier to education or self-achievement. And that is why this program exists, to remove one of the silent yet powerful obstacles standing in the way of our girl child dreams. We are acting today to restore hope Hope to the girls who thought they had to sit out for several days every month. Hope to parents who worried about how to provide these essential products to their daughters. And hope to a nation that wants every child to rise regardless of their background or their gender. This program is a multi-ministerial collaboration involving 3 ministries: the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. It also aligns with our national goals and global commitments, particularly the SDG 4, which says quality education, and SDG 5, which talks about gender equality. But beyond that, it is rooted in something more profound. It is rooted in our values as Ghanaians, our belief in fairness, in dignity, and equal opportunity for all our children, whether they are boys or girls. So today I say to every girl child in Ghana, you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are not invisible. We see you, we believe in your potential, and we will stand with you every month, every term, and every year.
Empanyifo bebre na omochro krata de koma ye mampanyi echire mu se ebeya yetemuafo panyi Mame Gertrude Isaba Tokonu yenyino emfri ade so na sa petition say kokan ye mampanyi esa no wone Council of State for esinkunya ewo ho emasese die wate abadwokuo omo ba beye nhwemu afa sa petitions ni nyina ho entino eye yetemuafo panyi Justice Gertrude Isaba Tokonu yatwe no asensan na twe atwe na asensan na ama otafo mrashebedwani onmunyamfo Eko Vincent Asifua edi asem no akwankodan Supreme Court a wotre mu se anamon a ye mampanyi etu a yetemuafo panyi watwe na sensen no eyade a etia oman Ghana ya mamra na afin so etia ye kabi maminkabi amemu a yebuo na afin so se Ghana temu no atemu adwuma no omo ewo saa kwenya na ewo so omo de omo ho edi omo dwuma enti no se ye de amanyosem ewuramu a eno so yade baako a emmoa enti de okanyina ene se ebeya Supreme Court entina asem no so na twe ayatwe otemuafo panyi asensan no omo ensan endane no se de beya bibisa entimi enkoso esan se bo hwe kwan ya ye mampanyi ede yetemuafo panyi efa so na enya de etwa ye kura etia oman Ghana ya mamra.
Yet once on the Quasso, a pomdian selves, or so for Dano, and Noble Cobnaminta Cando, and also a Nashibi Mamma for Jabos. So, and I say, done any editor, a yet Tamale Teaching Hospital, in a sense, I shall cope to prove a question 7 idea echo sodano, and a Casa and no more coswire, Sabia Hono, honey, a penny, Quanchef, no die, Sabiano, Dr. Atik Adam, Ekunya, and Baba may you, or Jinajuma edificating some, no. And a tamale Dr. For Honso, as I didn't know what I'm egu for Munyajuma. And they or the new man near candy here, and then so more kind be at the moment. So, Womra, no one trust and Casa, no conquer with my sons and only here. Now, more Sabi, Omudo Dom near the say, I'm sure more now at the Koyaman Sutria, and also the Apomodium some ever happy.
As has already been indicated, I have some equipment, some consumables, and some medicines to be donated to Tamale Teaching Hospital. And we are committed as part of the reset agenda in righting the wrongs. But I know that it will not be easy. I need the cooperation of everybody, especially the health professionals. I cannot do all this alone. Without the cooperation of the medical doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists, much cannot be achieved. And so my humble appeal to my wonderful medical doctors and health professionals at Tamale Teaching Hospital is that I am the first person to take care of your interest. And therefore, let's call off the strike and let's all regroup and strategize going forward. There are some of the things we can easily do with our internally generated funds. Please, let's confront the issues as they are. It is just not sustainable for government to keep donating equipment to health facilities, and at the end of the day, when the equipment are obsolete, we run back to government for money to either maintain or to replace this equipment. Once at least, even if we are not charging the requisite fees, we generate something small out of these machines. What happens to the money? There must be a new direction. And we all group together and think through it. Maybe I'm looking at it from a different direction. We'll share ideas. Let's pursue the interests of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Na saa asɛm kro yɛn ho onmunyamfo Dr. Kingsley Ajimai a health committee wɔ mmarahyɛbadwafie ɔka ho bi nso so de ato adɔkotafoɔ mu wɔ Tamale Teaching Hospital anim sɛ ɔmadama adehye apɔmuden nsɛm no ɔmo nkwanti ɔmo nsesa ɔmo adwen na nkɔmo nsan kɔyɛ adwuma esan sɛ ba ne saa ya na ɛha adwene yie apɔmuden nsɛm deɛ yɛmfa eni agorɔ no wɔkyerɛ mu sɛ kyɛw pa bia nso wɔ sɛ mpanyinfoɔ de kɔma wɔn mu bia wɔ sɛ saa mpanyinfoɔ no hwɛ na ɔmo ma kyɛw pa ne kɔ sɛ de bɛyɛ adɔkotafoɔ na kɔma bɛtɔ ɔmo yam na ɔmo asan akɔyɛ adwuma bi.
All the issues that they have raised, they are issues that the Parliamentary Select Committee will be interacting with the Health Minister on. The things that they have asked for, I wouldn't say they are too far-fetched. They are asking for an apology from the Minister, which will serve as a deterrent, because the Tamale Teaching Hospital has had a history where healthcare givers have been attacked by the public before. So we believe, or I believe, that when the minister renders such an apology, it will prevent any further issue. In terms of facilities to work with, the things that they have asked for are things that the Parliamentary Select Committee is already aware. Some of them even came up or as found expression in the national budget, which we believe the executive will be having a very critical look at. But in the supreme interest of things, we, the people of the minority, part of the Select Committee, of the candid opinion that what the doctors are asking for is not very different from what our press release also said. And we believe that very soon there should be calmness, because this work calls for a high level of sobriety, and that caregiving and caretaking must happen in a very serene and congenial atmosphere, devoid of tension, devoid of threats of attack, and devoid of any politicking. We believe that we should not be subjecting our health systems to politics, because we can't play politics with health. And the caregivers are also very much aware that they can also be patient at any time, because sickness can come to anybody at any time. Seeing the place almost empty, all OPD services were drawn, which includes even pediatrics, all forms of emergencies also withdrawn, polyclinic not working. I believe the people of the North deserves better, or anybody that comes in contact with the facility. So we are calling for calmness, we are calling for cool heads. We are appealing to our doctors that they have genuine issue. Their issues that they have asked for are very much justifiable, and we just plead with them like they always do. These are practitioners who have broken their back for a very long time, and the executive will look at it. Parliament, as an oversight responsibility, will look at it. Honorable Suhini, Honorable Akando, I believe they have had sober reflections, and the demands of the doctors, I'm not sure will be too much for them to have a look at. When you have done deeper introspection and deeper reflection, and in the supreme interest of affairs, where the caregivers will have their peace of mind and feel safe in the environment that they work, and that's also to act as a way of preventing others from taking an action which they have taken in the past before. Because per what we have seen, the videos that we have cited, it is more or less.
aha ena yebegyina na ya home kase ebono so yeba ye de nkomotwetwe no betwa so ede amamo yetemuafo panyi asese ye mampanyi atwena sensan ana Ghana Bar Association for ede omano atomo mo twemu se si yebeyi nimpo a ewo se bibia efa emrakwan so yekwaba na yede muko
Obusa from Majo Makwa baby madam say wonder ho e kan ho UTV so e bra so say tena se atwetwe nkomo ne de atwetwe ho nkomo ene se o temu penny chief justice ene pa bi e de nkrata komo man penny se sebienti ene ma bia wayeye emrebra baba betena so se temu penny ene ma enkoyi enti na dwuma ekura no ka enyi mfiri se man penny e boachiri edema empenifo that the ekoba mu so wampeni atwena sensan sensem ene kwadu e de abono no empenifo bi entrance nhwehwem na ewie na se ne hu so mra meto na adwuma so eno ene hu nsem na kwakwa bebre ebi kire se nimrem ebi kire se ewomrem ehwe eye utafo mrahye bedwane kura don de whatever asem no e de akwakodu asendi bi ase wampeni de o kanon twense ansa na Ghana Bar Association so atro nsem aba echese de ekoso mema amamra no enye adwuma se ne be ya ebe ya da chinse na ho edi ama oman Ghana ma ne no na anwumre ya tena se ba behwetwe ho enkomo mene eye abiu deladem ono communication team member ema NDC amanyuku no na afei Kwasibo Junior ono communication team member ma MPP amanyuku no penifo menu na me no twetwe ne mum ansara ne yopekwa ahomaso ne lawyer Richard Niama atwetwe nkomo kakra na ya hwede ekoi sen na ono so na dwene eye no wo ho enti yenkwa ahomaso ne lawyer ankasa lawyer mo adwo anwumre ye do aseba UTV so
mejo so me nua bema me chia wo ne tiefo nyina
tiefo jo so lawyer yenhwe de ekoso yemse akwakwa se amanyosem kakra sanse wutia MPP ni ebekasa se we kura de bi nsida o mampani na nka so to no bo ase na nsema aba no ono aba akiri ehwemu na nyese putupuru so nkotena ase ansa NDC for no so kire se de o mampani aye no eno ano no Ghana Bar Association de nkrata aba aye se yema prepare ye ne no kredi eni amamra no enye adwuma de ekoso yi wadwen kire ne sei
yo me da se asem ni nyina ne se oman na yewo mu no e wo se ye de embra eye adwuma na embra na ye de ye adwuma no ya na nipa benu ana se nipa mienu entumi hu embra ne se ta na etia no enu nti na court wo hono ma se ye hwembra na se de o ma tro no maadwene ene waadwene enti so a na ye da court no Nuntina amana kwakoba ne say the same process ewo article 146 minu na ye kan a ye hu se de atie no afakọ ye se ene adane interpretation mienu eso no se dia MPP fo hu no ene eso no se dia NDC fo e hu no meme dia mi hu ne se obi the petition akọ se ye chief justice in free honum question and say emrama ho kwan na say emrama ho kwan minu nyina be ya ne say emrama ho kwan say so obi susu say chief justice nye na adwuma yi a obetumi de petition afọ o de petition ne koye no so no o kan sa amra kro na e kire say the mampanyin saka petition no o kwan say council of state emano advice anasa akutu na based on advice no womote basunkuo ye committee no na ya kire kwa ye fasonte committee ni nyina na ye mfa hwehwe asem no mu megidi se eno nso ekoso ebi mo nso de asem na ko Supreme Court efi se omu susu se ade no ebia kwan mampanyin fa so ye no wanye ni yie omu nyina so ewo ho kan na eye na ekoba ne tii na ya lawyer for there ya ye titan say ye ma ho kwan na emra ne nye adwuma esan say tisia na akwakoba say mampanyin susu say ono no de emra na ye adwuma nti ne kwan so no nam na obi susu say ya mampanyin aye no wanye ne yi nti odi akokọ no eye dan ya court be kasa menu na ye behu ba bia court de be kwakoto de be kwakọ ye adwuma MT obi say bibi fa Ghana Bar Association statement I dey about bontin hu
never try
ni nyina so ye won say o man na ye wo mu no ye wo history bi na ye history ni mu no some time ago no na ya na ade bia ba na Ghana Bar Association e kasa wo ho pa enti no akwa say na da history na sesa na ye rule of law na adwuma na Ghana Bar Association na kana no atom kakra no bibi say ba na manfo no hwehwe say Ghana Bar Association dey na no betom be ya no mo free say Ghana Bar Association no eyekuo na ekuo bia no your number one interest and say ubedwin the welfare of your members. Inti the Ghana Bar Association IED on national issues na ebia almost doing the welfare of lawyers one. Me me gidi chene kwan so no.
Okay.
But some are being so there na say if lawyers one part because Chief Justice there one or check court e Ghana nyina so.
Yeah.
Na ne ho ko touch man na say ebetumi aha ye adwuma ye no.
Okay.
Inti Ghana Bar Association to say okay the ekofi ye nyina yemfa no kredie enye adwuma na yenhwe se dia ye no ye the rule of law ana say ye ma emra no ho kwan ama mra na ye adwuma
lawyer ye bread into the intro na me bisa question we na ye memfa wosi na me ndawase wo mo ka se na ebi hwe argument fi ndi MPP side ne bana say ye share ye ba for republic ebi nsi da se ye twi temwa for penny bi asensan ne ade no ebi nsi da o mo kasa no mo ya adwen just a petition number there o man penny betumi ahwem nanka council of state tunufo no waye na watwe na asensan ne kasa ekornche se man penny no ma ya adwen se ma me ne kra yin ni firi o no mo kasa asem no ya adwen se ebi nsi da diga so man penny nya botre
ebi nsi da ne de no kre se ebi nsi da.
Okay.
Now so ebi nsi da no eno so nkyere se mra na ye hyeto wo no yentumi emfa nya adwuma.
Okay.
Wahu enti se omampanyin susu se opeso de ye adwuma mi yidi se ne kwan so ano no ho kwan so de ye adwuma. There are issues about governance and perception near there omo nim governance and perception ne betumi aka ho asem, but on the legal point of view the obi sami ameka say emra na da ho eno de ye adwuma. So long as a umbrana sono ebe de mpa say obi betumi atwe na bo so say it say the first time nti man mfam bra no enye adwuma.
Okay. La me da say nyumre na me de we say ebre nti da foforo bibi ni a ebe to nsa de afro e de wa say nyumre lawyer Richard Niama ene ne kwetwe nkomo no memra mpamfo nchen hom de me ne wo ne wa ha na yini nkomo de me yehwe de ekosu argument in the bebre bi kra chese se sikasem ni sa enema ne ade no se Chief Justice sabe enema bi wo ho a owo ho kwan e no de ne sa akwakoka na akwakwa se na enem wiemu dada ye bo ntoa ne ade nyina ye ba ebi no e na aba be sha ase ntino chese bi kra susu se letters no kra no petition no kra if NDC for hora no maka o chino mo de aba mamiti wa dwen kire yebre ne ko
mamiti a ona mejo so ne djuma pa o de bo aka na mai na me chere wafa in fact lawyer cheche mo tire yebi de kan wase mi na ne se e the petition ana obi the petition akoma mampeni Dramani Mahama se Chief Justice on one homodin amanfo atwa asem twintwa you left and right in Nigeria and free yembrem according to the minority the MPP telling us say anyem brakwan so ena Ghana Bar Association so about bonten say it say ekokon say dem brani yejuma.
Yeah,
they are not telling us Mahama from brani yejuma yes na mo pa chire simply they are also putting their mouth say ekok say ko embrakwan so anameboa.
Yeah,
good. Over in fact Ghana Bar Association to give certificate to Dramani Mahama for making sure say on the yambra no and the yejuma wa Ghana and compared to first year man believe we my way more I also a lawyer but our press freedom was suppressed.
But ya na what show where
don't believe you a lawyer. I'll be here so matching was
say ni nyina ya na matching for na na ye nhwe mampani we na ba wodin go ni dibre.
Thank you so much.
Yes apena yes e bia
okay
no
yeah mampani Ekufuado legal practitioner can mampani legal practitioner e wo my way mu yehu say na press freedom yehu say na yembra I can believe the law is the supremacy of the state. You say that it was in the mud.
There's a
typical example. Mami Charlotte say the same petition on when they come man Pini Kufuado say on shemu man Mami Charlotte say born in home order. In the petition no more against Charlotte say any. Yeah, by Charlotte say kula and recommend this. Give me the petition so that I could see say the petition in up to now petition kula mami kula who petition. By your mind we who dey see and the petition on the buy ya. You sure say CJ Bisa Mampini Mahama Edeman say trim. Good. Offer if somebody is telling us say yamfa brakwan so ana Mampini Mahama amfa brakwan so asa na ye twi mami we answer so continue fie. In fact we have not sacked him. It's a suspension. Does not mean sacked. It yanka says CJ ni yampamono but it's on suspension. Good. So we share article 146 more. Over. Me a lawyer. I've not been to legal school. I don't even have LLB, but we don't need lawyers to tell us. Say Senambrano Ekasa for article 146. We don't need lawyers to interpret to us. The law is clear. Yes, one petition to be sent to the president. Obia sorry to petition na come Mampini Mahama. Say way anyway ni hu was CJ. It is shame my. And Brownson catcher say petition ba. The petition must be referred to Council of State. Mahama Wanyana.
Okay.
Or refer petition to the Council of State. Second, premier facie simply means a petition must hold waters, must be of evidence. You can say there is more evidence about one thing. Even when we to say there's a procurement breaches. Yes, to security guard pen or the nikunu or the nemba and a coin. Simply there is a premier facie. That means the case will hold waters steadily. It must be investigated. And a Mampini Mahama, a former committee, someone can ask Namusha Seminole. There must be recommendation to the president. It's where you can only 9 from the same say, what are the beef of the MPP? Do you know how? Because we don't need lawyers to interpret to us.
But the letter will be super say, and there may be a yes, shroud in secrets, and Nema and Sama petitioners in the coin, and there may be any daho. Ntino
eni ndaho na eni daho
se nsema mabobọ so no
yes
ade a se de o kan se ebi hold water na ade no se sikasem na ade ewo mu no se eye 162 na ababe piem de a I don't ntumi nto aso na adwuma na ye nhwe procurement nsem na ade
we have not sacked the woman offer even what you are saying Kulano e won branem say this was the stance I gina so e dey impeach chief justice those are the stand if there's a procurement breaches Secretary Koso, I say a pound was a chief justice.
Alleged, sir.
Alleged. Anything I allege, anything I allege,
in the fan to so say.
And me found to no so. Anything I allege in the warfare. That is why we have what recommended to investigation. Are you getting me? Anything I can say, you recommend my investigation from a committee. The woman must sit aside. Does not mean say you are permanent or uncle, but have been suspended. There is a difference between sack and suspend. Because you are permanent, you have been impeached. When you say what? Suspended for a period of time. Then I'm branding children. Are you getting me? So when I see lawyers, or be almost on my law school, now they are reinterpreting this now. It seems like we are not safe as a nation. Of when is that?
On that score, the liability I can say, me patch me bo, Emra won't chimu, Tina do court to crana. Judge to, Babenya lawyer for me, no, or more egos, a any precedent. This a lawyer in me back. So I did be bab on this, that's a lawyer nibi, Chenabia, because me no lawyer for, but a lawyer for near the and I say for constitution, the prayer quotations near there. Ebi kra obeka wa ha no net say ba be kwa ha no
different
so lawyer ni bi che na adwan eno nje so wa law school to no wo nya adwan ono so adwan che no
yes offer but I want to ask ahimfa ena Mampini Mahama atombra. That is the question we need to be asking, because procedures na you first so any chief justice in Nano, the man have passed through all the procedures, so we want to know, is it they should stop wasting Ghanaians time. Abribia last week Mohammed Kasa said,
no,
see, we have pressing issue in this country. They left a broken economy for us. They should come together so that we fix this broken economy. This is issues I own here. Over I own here. The man have not gone against the rule of law.
Okay.
Proceedings the petition on the buy premier facet investigation and a recommendation in ano. Man penny Mahama funny in aso. So what are their beef?
But that's
how I'm getting me.
I'm going to see one at Yebrand and Chenaga. Was he?
Of a name,
Bremen and share a quack Ben Kumini Nifa, and the patch also be you. And a part of MPP say, my men on the editing and yet.
But I say, media, my fa, Queen, and I'm chairman, me party penny for. I'm say, His Excellency Alaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the leadership of my party, started. Thank you to our boa pro across the nation at Ghana for us. I shall send me boa. Remember that we are a Western region. Into a party for say. Sabia you do me in your Kaya Humbum in Kabum here, Dr. Bawumia saying Kabum na sisi in a Dana Komaso. Because young Kaya Huambuma 2028 or Kono be dear my now of any Meko and Sama and a Dapono sono. Let me say CGA ye it's a very delicate matter. I was say it me a canny because judiciary and democracy is your manaso. Ghana, yeji a 1992 constitution atumuno. Yanjian to muse ye pese attempted democracy. Yeji to muse ye pese ye practice full democracy. In this ye practice full democracy there, they are very important. Say ye be safeguarded and I say ye be both judiciary independence ehobay. Very very important. No for any. I said I'm a consecration. My maker say me say MPP for yen kasama. Madam Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, MPP doesn't speak for her.
Okay.
But the problem MPP has with this whole process is the unconstitutionality and the constitutional lawlessness are NDC for a display. And NDC for a display. And
the party say him found on because
remember ho. And senya nsem nini e koso no. It is clear say agenda here ye pese di Madam Chief Justice is a premeditated, orchestrated, and engineered agenda masterminded by the NDC. NDC for the share chiro mashishe ubibeka mashishe juma umudi good Chief Justice neso. It is very clear. Say adie no moye no emfa na kwemu enye proper. Musimo pese mu ye Chief Justice. No problem. I am one of the persons I feel say if a public officer we are bibi na name bra ne boy bra yem follow due process ni eni nipa kro ni daily. Yes, suspect is a Chief Justice a bibia. Yem fambra kwanso near daily. But you have actors and in penny forward NDC mo abeka publicly say they are committed. NDC as a party is committed. Say you be Chief Justice free. And I can refer to the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Ura Mustafa Gbande, Etna, my sister station back also over the weekend. I can categorically say their party is committed to the removal of the Chief Justice, which I feel is very unfair, it's very unfortunate, it is something that shouldn't be entertained as a country. Say political party, because they are obsessed with the CJ, they are CJ, and I say, if we say yes, say CJ ni aligned to a certain political party, if we say the NSM court, akwanya you expect to say ebe faso na faso ntino, ye begi CJ ni free ho. That statement alone and the posturing of the NDC alone makes the entire process of the CJ more political than legal. And to say no here issues surrounding the removal of the CJ, it's beginning to look a bit more political than legal issues. Say we are focusing on the interest of the party rather than the larger picture and the national interest. And I say Ghana for idea Ghana for here. Minyane kasano. Omoka ni NDC for omoka no more compare yema me get to Tokono and yema me Charlotte say me Charlotte say you be a me penance empire. I have not met her before, but I really admire her ne say nyoma wetima achieve even in the legal field near there. But the two are not the same. The Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary. The judiciary is an arm of government, just like the president heads the executive and also an arm of government.
The arm of government is above the law now.
The arm of government is not above the law. So nobody is saying say the arm of government is above the law. But the CJ is the head of the judiciary. Charlotte Tosay is not a head of an arm of government.
The EC from so.
Baby obey from so. But we am from so now. Constitution actually require yemfa wonye den. Emfa so. But I'm just saying, say the comparison between Madame Charlotte Tosay and Madame Getutoko no. Sa comparison nemfa. For Madame Charlotte Tosay issue now. Any own deputies obekaya. The own deputies in 2017 and are making allegations against the EC chairperson. Ora Amadou Sule. Any woman back walk count. Or more no make allegations against them.
Because your business say deputy make allegation against you. And no ma a young from so. And on the other hand, so me adwuma ho no me hu maybe say e koso say emwa oman no. Enya information bi say emwa oman nkoso a mean to me
no I
complaining.
Material can say, but that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
The American say situations me anyway no. Separable situations. Any issues are the same. Any issues are bit more compared together.
And it's part of governance.
No, it's part of governance, but we are talking about legal issues and or try to compare the removal of the CJ to that of the EC commissioner. That's what I'm saying. Is you cannot compare the two because of your procedures. The electoral commission ni free ho. Any idea no share procedures the CJ ni free ho no ma. You cannot say. It is the same because even the framers of the constitution per se or much say the same and they would have stated in the constitution say the procedures a DECJ and one that was a DEC and CJ of any brother mama no say CJ any EC no they hold separate offices are omuniani belong to separate arms of government. We shouldn't try to politicalize the judiciary, but it looks as if this government wants to find ways and means to hijack the judiciary, which I feel very unfortunate. Idea Sebe and what say Ghana phone sorry. Would be a question we say, what is wrong with this whole process? You see, if you look at the constitution, actually clearly mentioned say petition about president and the council of state be determine premier phase we be set up committee. Near the idea article 14610 which talks about the fact say president who kwai say or chief justice no essence and not suspending. The wording of the constitution is that the president may by a warrant suspend the chief justice. Now Osha constitution no so say you may on an administrative body and now obi or exercise a certain authority or power conferred on somebody by the constitution. Then we have to go to article 296 which discusses discretionary powers. Now, article 296 I suggest say obi exercise discretionary power or authority say power no nipa no be exercise it no in a fair and candid manner. Said the attorney say nipa no be exercise authority in a way enquire biased way.
Because now over to us say me push one guidelines ni kwanya baby amfo so wona
enti hona me dey duro no enti discretionary power no say who exercise here constitution it say over article 296C na say where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not consistent with the provisions of this constitution or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power. So the case lawyers minimum making of which I support that case and that claim, they say there ought to be a constitutional instrument or a statutory instrument which is an ally regulating discretionary power. Now President John Dramani Mahama under article 14610 now what exercise here or they are suspended the chief justice. But as it stands now, of any we a very renowned and seasoned journalist, I do not know say we any such constitutional instrument or statutory instrument now, and so that is why we say this suspension is fundamentally, inconsistent with the provisions of the constitution. That is the claim I am making. And say obi tena be because ade na ye na ne constitution no ne kwanso na na ma respectfully me say ni pakro ne nya adwen. And I totally disagree because constitution actually require you first will exercise discretionary power under Article 14610.
But in this case, if what compares are to, in this case, see bisa per the law side na, the petition na ba mampeni boachia, Council of State in the day omo adwin chen beba na clear no once and for all, and I say committee no. And the beba.
In terms of say
be decided on the merit of the
it's very simple. The Council of State job near two jobs. More adwuma mienu per one. So many president be determined say there is a premier facie case in there. Was a if there is a premier facie case, then the president in consultation with the Council of State will set up a committee. That's the entire job of the Council of State in this whole constitutional process. Now it is the committee na juma. So mo be doso and as a pension petitions issue by issue I interrogating one by one and who say constitution in article 1461 actually so person chief justice are two issues either by stated misconduct or infirmity of mind and body just a nipa na dwan touch man na body baby touch mind to ntimi nya adwuma until say committee ni be decide say ye be chief justice to kuno then they have to be able to decide say Bonena a war petition him and their petitioners ne allege no amounted to a stated misconduct in EU. Now even lawyers will ask what is a stated misconduct. I have not seen any definition for what a stated misconduct is. It's the issue in a gray area. That is why every lawyer or well-meaning Ghanaians are saying let us take our time because it's an area of study for lawyers and students of law because a very gray area. A being see that into per se doso ma
because or they are called Council of State.
No, let's do it properly because you see I refer to you say I refer the proper way is that I refer to you say article 14610 it say the president may exercise. It brings about discretionary power. And I've brought you to constitution maybe a regulated discretionary power article 296C and say there has to be a regulation, either a constitutional instrument or a statutory instrument regulating the exercise of the discretionary power.
Because no,
it's not an amendment. Say the president can or cannot. It is discretionary. So no, that's what I'm saying. Say when it comes to the discretionary part of it, then you have to invoke the provisions of Article 296C. So there ought to be a regulation because of any. Article 296, then in the regulating discretionary power. No?
Yeah, Brennan T. Them wait 2 minutes now. Then call question. What's the matter?
Many lawyer, I can send me. So far, what the working in now? Question me, and say, I want to know part of John Dramani Mahama at Umbra. You can in now. Once more, me kind. Now, cause it's super. Shall I say one to Umbra? I'm not a lawyer, but you're kind. And so what you say. Or say he may, and I'm or say he may. You see, let me tell you something. Okay, say me didn't hear up as a lawyer. Or person or catch it say the issue was a lot of say so already. Many legal matter, but it was sent to court. Me 1 hour for. But with the legal matter because it pertains to the Chief Justice. You see, we shouldn't be double standard. You get it? We shouldn't. You see, there is one thing I have been appreciate upon. Is say we politicians shouldn't be communicated for. Amanfoa omo bu omaneka ana amanfoa omo di omanu akwa apia
so mo so do obi adi ni le mo so doctor say dey buy so mo huru na say dey
wofa that is why I'm preaching whether the NDC or the NPP we shouldn't be communicators for these people. You get it?
But you are doing it.
That is why
both parties are doing it.
I am.
That
is why I'm preaching. I am not
Chief Justice. Yes, you are the NDC.
That is why I'm saying the NDC or the NPP or other future political party that will come to governance. You get me? The minute lawyer can now one can share my NTS. You see,
one one TS and I say
it's here for client TS.
Oh, now yes,
but because Embrana ye from you told us a petition Ediako. Premier Fancy case, Premier Fancy case, investigation, recommendation, so what next? Are you getting me? You can
and Yemi one said the American on say because the American is strictly law in America. We are the regular politics. I am just the American. I am no the American. I am talking about provisions of the Constitution. It is on TRC we can pardon him. But the amendment is very simple. Say, over Article 14610 na Constitution says the president may by a warrant. Constitution ni mo baby a may a mandatory shall and a mandatory your share. May a confer or no some discretion say open now ye open so on good perfect and the Constitution it says what you may now which is discretionary now then come to Article 296 which regulates the exercise of discretionary power. And the Constitution in Article 296 says, "Chere kwan ya obefa so e use dia ope a obeye no." E chere say ope dia obeye a there has to be a constitutional instrument or a statutory instrument to guide or regulate your discretion. So the question we are asking is, where is that constitutional instrument or statutory instrument requested for by Article 296C? And son of president, ebetimi are exercising a discretion under Article 14610. That's the question we are asking. We are fundamental. Then Article 296. Mamin kind trail. Then Mamin kind trail. Ibi anawa watch Article 296. I say, where in this constitution, just a constitution baby, or in any other law, discretionary power is vested in any person or authority. A, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid. Obasi now I say where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this constitution or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power of any now president or a judge and not a judicial officer. The president is not a judge. The president is not a judicial officer. The president too. No, that's not what I'm saying. But the president is the one exercising the discretionary power. That's what I'm saying.
Or to me say also. Only to me say also.
Obi anka only to me. But constitution na check point here obe first so use out to me. Of any. Everyone say oh your host of show yi. Who can say ubisa your questions. But at the same time no. Discretion now one. What if you produce a can send for us? Discretion you do on ma. I was say offer a quite papa so now the uses are discretion. No. Your phone is open so upon show 11:30. What if for pen point 11:30? You have to involve them. You have to involve the proper procedures and processes.
The query do abobi. Jancheni we was no.
You see, Debbie. I am brasem ni yeka. We may say whatever we want to say, but the provisions of the law is very clear. It's very clear.
You see now kind of options woman.
Options a woman is saying.
Can be.
See they say where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this constitution or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power to govern. So I am saying sir
per yemra na wo ho se ye say Charlotte say dia buy anyway abey any pe bi na aka asemetia no the car asemetia wa
Charlotte say wasn't suspended but Article 14610 talks about the warrant exactly because no that's not what I'm saying. Okay, Article of any the American Magana phone follow Adarma. Article 14610 it says the president may by a warrant suspend the chief justice. Perfect. So if you want to initiate or invoke Article 14610 now you should may to suspend the chief justice now a discretionary power because may need a discretion. Now, in the exercise of that discretion, what do you do? Article 296 is what regulates the discretionary power or the exercise of discretionary power. Yeah, and so article they say we have constitutional instrument or statutory instrument to govern that. And one American. Me so until say am fan channel. Enya he, am fan channel.
A lawyer na your friend crown so can be friend here. Akwa ya ju. Tell for ibeja enka no so dia mamu na jama cheche ma jebre na so. Ti edama se na mada kwesi botwe ase ono NPP communication team member and Fidela dem NDC communication team member. Yeni lawyer Richard ni ama enso kasa we have nkwanta bebre lawyer can different the lack of different questions so can different ni nyane say yɛbɛhwɛ na bar association sɛ ɔmo ka no yɛbɛma mmerɛ ne pɛpɛɛpɛ yɛ ayɛ adwuma sɛne bɛyɛ a obi nkɔdi ne yam yɛde mo asɛm ɛda me nua baab na bɛyɛ nya no nso ase na yɛde mo asi yɛda crew no nyinaa ase ɛda producers ne nkaefo no nyinaa ase ɛfie apɛ red light ɛtoa so yɛmeyɛ adom a ɔwɔ ne dakyena yɛkra mo